WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar, 1 p.m. in Niamey. Good afternoon and welcome to Newslink on West Africa, the Macross Radio broadcasting on 94.9 FM and worldwide at WADR.org. First, our major stories. Senegal's former president Sall faces setback for UN Secretary General candidacy.
For somebody who wants to lead the whole world in terms of leadership in general, you need to be clean. Macky Sall was really a kind of small dictator.
Ghanaian government shuts down its embassy in Tehran following hostilities in the Middle East. West Africa Democrats Radio launches a week-long training for journalists on investigative and solution-based reporting.
You
come from countries facing significant security challenges. You are capable of carrying out the responsibilities that will be entrusted to you.
Niger signs new health agreement with U.S. government to combat diseases and epidemics. Please stay with us for details of these stories and more.
On the news, this is Sankulu Jubril Janko.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon. The candidacy of Senegal's former President Macky Sall for the position of United Nations Secretary General has been confirmed. Burundian President and current AU Chairperson Evariste Ndayishimiye submitted Macky Sall's candidacy file, while Sall seeks to succeed Antonio Guterres as UN chief. Some Senegalese citizens are challenging his capacity to lead the organization, citing concerns over his record in office. Here's Christopher Atiche with the details.
The former Senegalese president has not yet commented on his candidacy, but those close to him confirm that he is indeed in the race to succeed Antonio Guterres. The former head of state of Senegal is still facing challenges in his country. Macky Sall's close associate, however, say he has the qualities to succeed in this challenge, a perspective shared by Yoro Ja, a former minister under Sall's regime.
Regarding Macky Sall's candidacy, we are not simply asking for the support of the President of Senegal. We even want the President of the Republic of Senegal to become Macky Sall's campaign ambassador. We are quite hopeful that this will happen. For me, the most important debate concerns the strengths of candidate Macky Sall. He has several assets. Naturally, he is the candidate of Africans, but also the comparative advantage of support he may receive within the Security Council.
As soon as the former president's candidacy was confirmed, the opposition in Senegal was quick to react. They challenged his ability to effectively lead the office of the UN Secretary General. Ibrahima Khan, a governance expert, explains the impact of such action.
For somebody who wants to lead the whole world in terms of governance, in terms of human rights, in terms of leadership in general, you need to be clean and you need to have certain ethics. For years, Macky Sall was really a kind of small dictator between 21 and 24. More than 60 to 80 people, according who give the figures, died because of the action of the security services. He locked up families here. More than 2,000 people were locked in very bad condition in Senegal.
Before the former Senegalese president's candidacy, there were two official candidates, former Chilean President Michelle Bachelet and the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi. Many countries are also advocating for a woman to hold this position for the first time.
Christopher Atiche with that report. In Nigeria, concerns are emerging about the Independent National Electoral Commission's readiness to conduct free, fair and transparent elections next year. These doubts are emerging despite recent assurances from the electoral umpire, INEC. On Monday, the Commission's chairperson caused social media buzz and mainstream debate when he said the election may not be 100% perfect. WDR's Yechenu Sasiet in Abuja has some reactions in this report.
INEC Chairman Joash Amukbuton says the electoral body is working to strengthen logistics, voter education, and coordination with stakeholders. However, he cautions that challenges still exist and no election process is without imperfection.
We may not be able to achieve 100% perfect election for now, but as far as electronic transmission of results is concerned, that we have the capacity to transmit the results.
Chairman Amupiton says INEC will continue to engage political parties, civil society groups, and security agencies to mitigate risks, emphasize preparedness, and improve systems ahead of the polls. Reacting to the Commission's position, Public Affairs Analyst Kenneth Okonkwo states that the limited time outstanding for logistics planning and implementation remains a significant concern, especially given the scale of the election and the need for thorough readiness.
This new provision cuts the time that they will give money to INEC to 6 months. And it used to be 1 year in the former act. When it was 1 year, INEC still has problem with logistics in elections. You can imagine when it is 6 months. When will this institution prepare? There are things you need to print. There are a whole lot of things that you need to do.
Meanwhile, lawyer Abdukarim Musa argues that the law does not require 100% compliance.
The law does not even require 100% compliance. The law requires substantial compliance. In an election, nobody needs to have the total number of votes cast to win an election. All you need to have is the majority of lawful votes cast at the polls.
Observers say the comments reflect a broader national conversation on balancing expectations for electoral perfection with practical realities in Nigeria's electoral environment. For WADR, Yechenu Sasitu in Abuja.
More on electoral matters. Benin's High Authority for Audiovisual and Communications HAC has commenced advanced training for journalists and media professionals ahead of the April 12 presidential poll. The workshop, in collaboration with the International Organization of La Francophonie, is to ensure proper media coverage of the crucial vote. For the 4 days, media professionals will be equipped to provide balanced, credible coverage in line with ethical standards. Abdullah Hassan completes the story.
This training aims to better equip media professionals to cope with the constant evolution of journalistic practices. During the 4-day capacity building session, several topics will be covered, including the reporter's roadmap during the electoral period, the logistical challenges of the vote, the centralization of results, and the various disputes related to the presidential election. This was stated by Mohammed Bari, Vice President of the High Authority for Audiovisual and Communication, HAC.
As the April 12, 2026 presidential election approaches, our collective responsibility is therefore immense. It is about ensuring that citizens have access to reliable, verified, pluralistic, and accessible information so that they can exercise their right to vote with full knowledge of the facts. We are all aware that election coverage is a demanding task. It calls for professional rigor, balance in the treatment of information, and respect for the laws and regulations in force.
Special emphasis will also be placed on social media management, the rigorous handling of sources, and strict compliance with ethical and professional standards. To this end, the official presentation of the practical guide for journalists in electoral period is planned. It's all designed to support media professionals in their mission to inform the public. Through this initiative, the HAC says it aims to guarantee citizens reliable, pluralistic, and accessible information to exercise their right to vote with full knowledge of the facts. Officials of the institution are therefore urging participants to demonstrate diligence and professionalism to ensure media coverage that meets democratic standards.
A report by WADR's Aziz Adam Sule in Cotonou and voiced by Abdullah Hassan.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Here in Dakar, West Africa Democracy Radio is conducting a week-long training for journalists on investigative and solution-based journalism. The convergence comes as West and Sub-Saharan Africa continue to witness a change in political climate with rising insecurity that has often led to coups. This initiative, organized in partnership with the National Endowment for Democracy (NED), is designed to equip journalists from conflict-affected states with the skills set to counter disinformation and report responsibly. These exercises are being conducted through practical, interactive, and expert-guided sessions. Imo has the reports.
Against a backdrop of political instability in the Sahel, the training seeks to better equip journalists to address issues related to democratic resilience. Over the next 6 days, participants will be trained in investigative techniques, the production of specialized programs on security matters, as well as mechanisms to combat disinformation. For Batrauri, Sahel Research Officer with Wadr, the session comes at a crucial time.
Disinformation is a big issue. It's impact governance and security. Nowadays, the problem is sometimes you have disinformation coming from different sources, sometimes from government, from media, and sometimes from social media.
Beyond the context, the training has been welcomed by participants. Burkinabe journalist Ibrahima Kumbeme expressed satisfaction with the opportunity to strengthen his skills. He says, "This training, which has just been organized, is very useful for us journalists today, especially as we work in rather difficult situations. Investigative journalism, in the context we operate in, requires additional skills so that we can go into the field, gather information, and above all, respond effectively to the security crisis we are facing. It will enable us to acquire the fundamentals and the necessary tools to truly be operational in our work." Through this initiative, the organizers aim to train a new generation of journalists capable of conducting investigations with rigor, caution and responsibility in a region where informing the public can sometimes expose one to danger. Here is a message reiterated by Agnes John Tomasi, Managing Director of West Africa Democracy Radio. She says, "You come from countries facing significant security and democratic challenges. Therefore, your role is extremely important. We recognize that you are already professionals capable of carrying out the responsibilities that will be entrusted to you." The collaboration focuses on equipping media professionals with advanced investigative skills, fact-checking techniques, and tools to counter disinformation, while ensuring that their reporting does not inflame tensions in fragile environments.
Imo reporting. Elsewhere, the Ghanaian government has announced the indefinite closure of its embassy in Tehran. Across sides escalating tension and ongoing hostilities involving Iran, Israel and the United States in the Middle East. According to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Oblakwa, the closure is a precautionary measure to guarantee the safety of Ghanaian diplomats. From Accra, Nade Dictator reports.
Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Oblakwa has announced that Ghana has successfully evacuated all its embassy staff from Iran as security conditions deteriorated in the region. In a statement issued on Monday, March 2, Mr. Oblakwa said the evacuation was completed safely and all Ghanaian diplomats are unharmed. He indicated that Ghana's diplomatic mission in Tehran has been closed indefinitely, stressing that the safety and welfare of Ghanaians remain government's utmost priority during what he described as turbulent times. The move follows escalating military exchanges involving Iran, Israel and the United States, raising fears of a broader regional confrontation. Analysts warn that the rising tensions pose significant risks to diplomatic missions and foreign nationals. Mr. Oblakwa expressed appreciation to partners who supported the evacuation process and assured that government will continue to monitor developments closely. Diplomatic observers say the closure reflects a cautious approach by Accra as uncertainty persists over the direction of the conflict in the Middle East. Meanwhile, Programs Manager CDD Ghana Paula Brampa is urging government to initiate steps to minimize the impact of the conflict on the economy.
In global economic politics, in global security politics, no country is an island. No country can play safe wherever it starts, whether within the region as the Sahel problem is affecting us, or globally as we have economic. As the cushions that we are having, we are touting in Ghana. If the resumption of refinery that the Ghana oil company started doesn't go up in quantities, we're going to be affected by the oil prices no matter what happens.
For WADR, Nadi Tete, Accra.
You're listening to Newslink in West Africa, the Macross Radio 94.9 FM and online at wadr.org. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Senegal's former president Sall faces setback for UN Secretary General candidacy. Ghanaian government shuts down its embassy in Tehran following hostilities in the Middle East. West African Democracy Radio launches a week-long training for journalists on investigative and solution-based reporting. And Niger signed new health agreement with U.S. government to combat diseases and epidemics. Still ahead, we have press review, guest interview, and sports news. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
In the Gambia, the first ordinary session of the 2026 legislative year is underway, setting the stage for what is expected to be a month focused lightly on digital and economic reforms. Among them is the Communications Bill 2025 tabled by the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Lamin Jabi. The proposed legislation seeks to overhaul the country's communications framework. From Banjul, WDR Sang Donald Mendy has more in the following report.
Presenting the bill, Minister Lamin Jabi told members that the reform is designed to strengthen data protection and privacy safeguards, enhance cybersecurity systems, and promote greater transparency and competition within the communication sector.
It is to enable e-government services by promoting innovation and addressing computer misuse and cybercrime to protect individuals and organizations. It's to provide legal recognition for electronic signature, contracts and other electronic communications to enable electronic commerce.
He further noted that the proposed law is aligned with global technological trends and aims to accelerate the growth of the Gambia's digital economy by encouraging innovation in information and media services.
The creation of an enhanced ecosystem in the face of technological innovation for national defense and public safety. This bill is expected to establish a legal framework for electronic transactions, information, media and broadcasting services, promoting national and regional competitiveness.
The bill has now been referred to the Business Committee for detailed scrutiny and is expected to undergo further review and stakeholder consultations. It is worth noting that the outcome of this bill could significantly shape how the Gambia manages its digital transformation as lawmakers weigh the need to attract investment and innovation while safeguarding citizens' rights in an increasingly connected society. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, I am Sangdana Mendy, reporting from Banjul.
We turn to the Central Sahel region, particularly Nigeria, where the transitional authorities and the United States have signed a memorandum of understanding on health cooperation to combat several diseases and epidemics. The amount is estimated at more than $179 million or nearly 100 billion CFA francs. More details with Augustine Coley.
This 5-year partnership aims to strengthen the fight against malaria, maternal and child health, as well as epidemiological surveillance in Niger. The health cooperation is valued at more than $179 million, or nearly 1 billion CFA francs. Washington plans to allocate up to $107 million, equivalent to more than 59 billion CFA francs. For its part, the Nigerian government has committed to mobilizing more than additional 40 billion CFA francs in national resources over the duration of the agreement. In addition, the protocol includes over 2 billion CFA francs dedicated to global health security and the establishment of an integrated digital health ecosystem. This will include 6 information systems covering electronic medical records, laboratory management, pharmacy services, epidemiological surveillance, health product stock management, and a national data warehouse. According to U.S. authorities, the agreement is intended to strengthen Niger's capacity for early detection and rapid response to disease outbreaks in order to contain health threats.
Augustine Coley reporting.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
We now join Abraham Parker in Monrovia for the press review.
This edition features 3 local dailies, and we begin with the Liberian investigator. Gender Ministry intervenes in Nima rape case, confirms emergency surgery for minor. Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission clears Emma Glasgow of corruption allegations as Fisheries Saka closes. Up next is front-page Africa News paper. Ghana police arrested 3 in Lasaba mob killing of Liberian citizens. Justice for Austin. On the left flank of the paper, you have the photographs of the 3 suspects arrested so far in Ghana, and on the right is Austin's photo. The watch door hooked is a question being asked. Ombudsman Chairman Fine Kanga accused of soliciting 50% of his salary. Pioneer recommends a dismissal. Our next and final stop is the Heritage News paper. Yellow machines will create 1,342 jobs, says former Defense Minister, now head of the committee to supervise the operations of the Yellow Machine. And man accused of raping chickens in Nimba. Police spokesperson turns the allegation as false and misleading, says the man actually stole the chicken. That does it for this edition of Press Review from Liberia's capital, Monrovia.
Many thanks to Abraham Parker for the press review from Liberia.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Our guest interview focuses on trending reactions to Senegal's former President Macky Sall's candidacy for the position of United Nations Secretary General. Burundian President and current EU Chairperson Evariste Ndayishimiye submitted Macky Sall's candidacy file, while Sall seeks to succeed Antonio Guterres as UN chief. Some Senegalese citizens are challenging his capacity to lead the organization, citing concerns over his record in office. Well, Ibrahim Khan, an EU governance expert, provides an analysis of the circumstances surrounding Macky Sall's candidacy.
Usually when people prepare the election of the Secretary General, it's preceded by a lot of campaign, of candidates about the presidency, going to see, having a regional gathering, visiting those who count in the region to endorse your candidature. Before the AU summit in Addis, nobody heard about Macky Sall candidature. So it came as a surprise to all of us because Macky Sall was not listed in the category of people whose candidature needed to be discussed at the level of the AU. There is a committee of candidature at the AU that meets every summit and decide who the AU will support in terms of his name was not there. So I think this is a kind of candidature of last minute. And every time you have a candidature of last minute, it's a kind of not only a surprise, but there is something behind it. And the reason I'm saying something behind it is because there is a tradition that was set for the election of a Secretary General for years. For months, the idea was Latin America is going to elect. And if you see the list of candidates before Macky Sall candidature, you have 3 candidates for Latin America.
But Mr. Ibrahim Khan, at least we understand that Macky Sall's candidacy was really endorsed by the African Union, as a matter of fact, and it was submitted by the current EU chairperson, Evariste Ndayishimiye.
I think you need to nuance that. In the statement that was made by the president of Burundi, who is also the chairperson of AU, he said the candidature was presented by Burundi, not by the AU. Yes, because to be a candidate of the AU, you need that candidature need to be discussed and adopted during a summit, and it was not discussed during the AU summit.
So does it go to say that Macky Sall's candidacy has not been endorsed by the African Union, or it doesn't have the support of all EU member states?
But his own country. Have you heard his own country saying we support his candidature? No.
I was coming to that because shortly after that news broke, the opposition in Senegal really challenged his ability or capacity to effectively lead the office of the UN Secretary General. This could be local politics.
It could be local politics, but through that issue raised by some people in Senegal, I think there is also a truth. The truth is, for somebody who wants to lead the whole world in terms of governance, in terms of human rights, in terms of leadership in general, you need to be clean and you need to have certain ethics. For years, Macky Sall was really a kind of small dictator between 21 and 24. More than 60 to 80 people, according who give the figures, passed away, died because of the action of the security services. He locked up families here. More than 2,000 people were locked in very bad condition in Senegal. The way you remember, you were here when he stopped the election process and everything. All of that, but you can't do all of that and suddenly said you are human and you aspire to be one of the people who can really teach others on how to behave in a difficult situation. For me, ethically, it's not right for him to aspire to be the Secretary General of the United Nations.
Ibrahima Khan is an AU governance expert. But in sports, Burkina Faso have named Franco-Cameroonian tactician Amir Abdou as the new head coach of the national team, marking what the federation calls a new era of discipline and ambition for the Stallions. The 53-year-old replaces Brahma Traore, who was dismissed following the team's early exit at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Abdou guided Comoros to a historic Africa Cup of Nations knockout stage appearance in 2021. He later led Mauritania to notable success, including a landmark victory over Algeria at AFCON 2023. His immediate task will be to steady the team ahead of the 2027 AFCON qualifiers and upcoming World Cup qualifying matches. Elsewhere, Cameroon's indomitable Cubs have secured their place at the CAF Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations 2026 after lifting the Unifa Under-17 title. The Young Lions sealed the qualification with a 2-0 victory over DR Congo. The tournament was held at the Tata Rafale Stadium from February 17 to March 2, with both Cameroon and DR Congo on in qualification for the continental finals. And that's the sports news. We've come to the end of this edition of Newslink on West Africa, the Bakras Radio broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening. And many thanks to Ismail Kamara and Umu Danyogo for the technical assistance. So do interact with us via social media platforms, X, Instagram, and Facebook at WDR English. I am Sankule Jibril Janko. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Baf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and Love 104.5 FM Abuja.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.